the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay. If you are receiving the email and you are not deleting the email, like some people are doing, just good, let's delete that. We know that, or you know that, we're going to talk about something that is dear to my heart, and I'm sure it's dear to your heart too. But I just want to emphasize or stress a couple of points that I just want to share with you. I'm going to start with what we have on the screen, and after that I'm going to ask a question, and with the question I'm going to give you 5 answers, 5 possible answers. You're going to choose the right answer, or one of the answers, and you're going to tell me why you chose this answer. Okay, so this is the parable of the talents. It's present in the Gospel according to St. Matthew, chapter 25, verses 14 to, I think, 30. Okay, I think we are all familiar with the parable. I don't think we need to read it. It's very simple. One of the parables of the kingdom is that Jesus said that a man was going on a journey, and before he went on this journey, he collected 3 people, or he brought 3 servants. He called them here servants, who called his servants, and he gave them talents. Okay, talents, as per the commentators, is an amount of money, wealth. Okay, يمكن talent in English is not really does not give the sense of money, لكن احنا we're gonna take it very generally عشان literally the word means money, لكن we're gonna take it generally as a talent, as something that God is giving you. Okay, so he gave the first one 5, he gave the second one 2, and he gave the third one 1. Okay, and then after a long time he came back from his journey and he asked these 3 servants, what did you do with the talents? So the first one, who had how many? 5, he got? How much did he get? Well, he didn't get anything. He got 5 more. And then the second one, who had 2, he got 2 more. And the third one, who had 1, he got 0. Okay? And then the conclusion is, and that's what I want to read, the conclusion is in verse 19. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received 5 bags of gold brought the other 5. Master, he said, you entrusted me with 5 bags of gold. See, I have gained 5 more. His master replied, well done, good and faithful servant. And the continuation. And then the same thing happened with the second person who got 2 talents. And then the third person is described as what by the master? Wicked. Sharir. Ayyuha al-abd sharir. Wicked. So the first 2 were described as good, and the third one is described as wicked. The question that I want to ask you, why the master described the first and the second 2 servants as good and the third one as wicked? Why he described the first 2 as good and the third one as wicked? And I'm going to give you some options. Number A, or option number A, number of talents. Why? Again, I'm going to repeat the question so you can pick one of these options. Why the first and second one were described good and the third one was described as wicked? Is it because of the number of talents that he got? Is it because of the type of talents that he got? Is it because of the attitude of the servants or of the servant? Or is it because of the position of the person in society? Four options. Is it important in this parable the number of talents, or the type of talents, or the type of person, the character of the person? person, or the position of the servant in society. يعني in a different way. Is it true that I'm better than Mina if I have 5 important, and بحط important between brackets, talents, versus Mina has 2 less important talents? Does this make me better than Mina if I am a priest and Mina is a regular person? So Samir has 5 important talents and he is a priest, and Mina has 2 less important talents and he is a regular person. Is Samir better than Mina? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Why? Why? Go ahead.
Because he said to both of them, well done, good and faithful servant. You spoke the same, you rewarded them the same. He didn't say, you're a mad and faithful servant, and you're like kind of the same.
So what matters in the situation?
Are we looking for your status?
Huh?
Are we using the audience?
Yeah, we're losing the Samir and me. What God is looking to see that that Mina is good and Samir is wicked. If we're gonna use the expression بتاعت القرآن. What makes God see Mina as good servant and Samir as a wicked servant? If you said that I'm not better than him because I have more talent than him.
So one argument is you could say C, because on top of being wicked, the second part is lazy. So he's wicked and lazy. So the character traits is that the first one was able to use their talents to make something out of it, while the second one didn't.
Excellent. So the wicked was wicked and lazy. The first one was good and what? حد عارف the parable بيقول ايه؟ And faith. Okay. So what I really want to get from this simple parable, it's not the amount of talents or the type of talents. And that's, guys, this is very important. This is really, we think that this is ABC service, and it is ABC service. Like, we have to understand this very well. It's not the type of the talent or the amount of the talent or who is the servant. What's his position in the, and we think that, oh, a doctor definitely is going to serve better than a layperson, or a lawyer is going to serve better than a layperson, or a priest is going to serve better than a layperson. We all have this kind of mentality that, oh, if I am a priest and I'm a good speaker and God is giving me 100 talents, I'm going to serve better than someone who is a layperson who has only 1 or 2 talents, وكل اللي بيعرف يعمله انه يجي to set the room for us so that we can have the meeting on time. I don't know why indirectly we tend to feel that a bishop has a better service than a priest, and a priest has a better service than a layperson, just because he's a bishop, he's a priest, or he's a layperson, and he is only 1 year in his spiritual struggle or spiritual relationship with God versus someone who is 10 years in his relationship with God. What really God looks for is the character and the person himself. Not what his position, not how much he has, not how many talents he has, like he looks at the person himself. And guys, this is very important because a lot of you guys here are servants. A lot of you here are servants. And we tend to think that a service is for uncle, the servant who has been with God for 20 years, or with Abuna, or the doctor is going to serve better than me, or whatever prestigious position that he has in the government is going to serve better than me. What God really looks at is the heart. And this is what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to give you hundreds of examples because I want this idea تدخل هنا وما تطلعش. مش تدخل من هنا وتطلع من هنا. No, تدخل هنا وما تطلعش. Okay, so that's one thing. The other example is that I like very much Cain and Abel. And let's have a discussion about Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel, the story is present in the book of what? Where is the story of Cain and Abel? Genesis chapter 4. If someone can open Genesis, we don't have it here. If someone can open Genesis 4, please, verses 1 to 4. And we all know the story that Cain offered a sacrifice and Abel offered a sacrifice. Or Cain offered an offering and Abel offered a sacrifice. God accepted which one? God accepted which one? God accepted which one? Abel. You have it? Can you read please for us?
Now Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bore Cain, and said, I have acquired a man.
So who is the father and the mother of Cain and Abel?
Adam.
Adam and Eve.
I have acquired a man from the Lord. Then she bore again, this time his brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. In the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought an offering of the fruit of the ground to the Lord. Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat. And the Lord respected Abel and his offering, but he did not respect Cain and his offering. And Cain was very angry and
Thank
stopped
you.
his son.
So he accepted which offering or whose offering? Abel. The question is why? Why God accepted Abel's offering versus Cain's offering? Ideas. فكر and give me possibilities. Because of the type of offering. What is the type of offering? So one was fruit and the other one was animal. إيه رأيكم في الكلام ده? What do you think about what Mina said? Is that true? No? Why not?
It says Abel offered from the firstborn or the first fruits of whatever he had, and Cain just offered an offering from whatever he had.
Okay, so
What Abel offered was his most special thing that he had, the
Okay.
best of what he had.
very good, very good. So it's not because it was animal versus plant or fruit. It was because Abel offered the best versus Cain offered something. Okay, إيه رأيكم تاني؟ Joe, can you read this for me, verse 4 again?
Abel also brought of the firstborn of his flock and of their fat, and the Lord respected Abel and his offering.
Continue.
But he did not respect Cain and his offering.
So God respected what?
Abel and his offering.
Abel and his offering. And he rejected
Cain and his offering.
Cain and his offering. What Sylvia said and what Nina said, some people agree with that. That Abel offered an animal sacrifice, although طبعا مع احترامي الشديد احنا we are very beginning. I don't know if God has revealed that a bloody sacrifice would be better than just a grain sacrifice. That's why we question this idea that God accepted Abel because it was an animal sacrifice. An animal sacrifice that later at the time of Moses we hear about the animal sacrifice. Although this, some people say what Mina have said, like it, yani, if you like it, you can take it. I don't think it's the perfect answer. Because God at that time did not reveal that He prefers animal sacrifice. What Sylvia has said is closer to what most of the people agree on. The point that I want to mention that God looked at Abel and the sacrifice, and he rejected Cain and his sacrifice, because God looks first at the person. He doesn't look at the offering itself. He looks first at the person. The same thing as in the talents. The problem, or why one is good and the other is wicked, is not because one has 5 talents and the other had 1, or the type of talents, or the position of the servant in society. It's because who the person is. And this is a point that we need to understand, that God, when He required someone for service, it doesn't really matter what you want, what you can do, or how much talents you have. Like He looks at me. I'm gonna clarify this more if this is not clear. One of the very good example for this is Saul and David. Saul was the first king of the nation of Israel. سول كان راجل طويل وكبير وشكله كده يعني فخيم، عضلات و six packs، ويعني he looked very nice, and we read this in the book of Samuel, verse 1 Samuel 9:2. Can someone get this for me, please? 1 Samuel 9:2. Can you have it? Go ahead, please. We can read from verse 2.
There was a man of Benjamin whose name was Kish, the son of Abiel, the son of Zerah, the son of Bechorath, the son of Eliam, of Benjamin, a mighty man of power. And he had a choice and handsome son whose name was Saul. There was not a more handsome person than he among the children of Israel. From his shoulders upward, he was taller than any of the people.
Two description here. He was handsome, and another thing. Okay, that's she's describing Saul, who became king after that. There was no one who was more handsome, and he was taller than anyone else. شكله كده من بره ينفع ملك. He can be a king. He looks handsome ومالي نفسه كده. He can be a king. Was he a good king? At the end, he was rejected by God. Okay? Versus the story with David. Okay? And we read the story of David in 1 Samuel Bardu, chapter 16. David had 7 brothers. So he was number 8. So when Samuel went to, what's the name of David? What's his name? Jesse. Okay. So Samuel went to Jesse because God told him, go to the house of Jesse and pick a king from his children. So he got the first one, Ismu Abidab, or something like that. And then the second one, and then the third one, until he finishes all 7 of them. وكل واحد ربنا يقول عليه, no, that's not the one, that's not the one, that's not the one. Until he finishes all 7. فجاسم بيقول له خلاص. قال له you don't have any other kids. قال له there is one shepherd. And he is taking care of the flock. And go ahead. And this was David. God chose the shepherd, the one who, according to Jesse, he does not qualify to be a king. He chose that person. And the question is, why? Why David versus the other people who looked better as kings? Anybody knows why? What was a characteristic of David that made God choose him versus his 7 older brothers who again looked شكلهم كده ينفعوا يبقوا ملوك. He had a heart like God. And that's الفيرس ده جميل جدا. And we read this verse in two places in the Bible. First, in 1 Samuel 16, verse 8. And that says exactly what Anton is saying. Irina, you want to read first? 1 Samuel 16, 8.
Jesse called afterward and made him pass before Samuel. He said, neither has the Lord chosen this one.
So yeah, كمل. So يعني هو عمال يعدي على ال7 kids بتوع جيسي، فكل واحد يقول له not this one, not this one, not this one.
And Jesse made Shammah pass, and he said, neither has the Lord chosen this one. Thus Jesse made 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. When Samuel said to Jesse, the Lord has not chosen these. Samuel said to Jesse, are all the young men here? And he said, these.
سامعين guys؟ That's what exactly I just said. Are all the men here لسه فاضل واحد.
And he said, there remains yet the youngest, and there he is, keeping the sheep. And Samuel said to Jesse, send and bring him, for we will not sit down till he comes here. So he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, with bright eyes, and good looking. And the Lord said, arise, anoint him, for this is the one. And Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of his brothers. The Spirit of the Lord came down upon David from that day forward. So Samuel arose and went to him.
Okay, so this is the one. This small one is the one. This David, the last one, is the one. Why? Let's read 1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 14. That all the story of David is in 1 Samuel. That's why all the references are in 1 Samuel. I just want to tell you and show you what was special in David to be chosen as king. 1 Samuel 13, 14. Go ahead. 13, 14. And someone else can get Acts 13, 22. Joe, can you get Acts 13, 22, please? First Samuel 13, 14.
But now your kingdom shall not continue. The Lord has sought for himself a man after his own heart, and the Lord has commanded him to be commander over his people.
Can you please this verse, the beginning?
But now your kingdom shall not continue. The Lord has sought for himself a man after his own
The Lord has sought for himself a man according to his own heart. That's what exactly Antun have just mentioned. A man according to his own heart. The same idea we read it in the book of Acts, chapter 13. Can you read it please for us?
And when he had removed him, he raised up for them David as
ده هنا St. Paul is talking, just to give you a background. St. Paul is talking in his first missionary trip to a group of people and telling them what happened in the Old Testament. Go ahead.
And when he had removed him, he raised up for them David as king, to whom also he gave testimony and said, I have found David the son of Jesse, a man after my own heart, who will do all my will.
يا جميلة أوي الفرس دي. يعني forget about everything I said and just remember this verse. تاني St. Paul is talking to a group of from a church during his first missionary trip, and he's telling them about King David. So, go ahead.
And when he had removed him, he raised up for them David as king.
Removed who? So, okay, he raised who? David. Why?
To whom also he gave testimony and said, I have found David the son of Jesse, a man after my own heart, who will do all my will.
I found David the son of Jesse, a man according to my own heart. يعني ايه a man according to my own heart? What does it mean? رجلا حسب قلبي. A man according to my own heart will do all my will. يعني ايه؟ يعني فكروا فيها كده. I don't have like a literal interpretation. يعني just meditate on it. What does it mean? A man according to his own heart. Huh? He knew God so much. Okay, so he knows God very much so that he can think the same way as God. Very good. What else? A man according to God's own heart. يعني ايه؟ رجلا حسب قلبه. A man according to God's heart. What does it mean? When you read a statement like this or a verse like this.
Well, at the end of the verse it says, "Who will do all my will."
Absolutely, the answer is right there. Who will do all my will? So this is someone whose his will is alienated with God's will. ماشي مع ربنا in the same way. هو ربنا ماشي كده أو الويل بتاعته كده and David is going the same way as God is going. Our problem in service إنه ممكن ربنا ماشي كده وأنا ماشي كده and I'm serving. I'm serving Sunday school, I'm serving in choir, I'm serving visitations, I'm visiting sick, I'm in choir, I'm in a play, I'm in the kitchen, I am بعمل fundraising, I'm doing retreats, I'm in the committee of the retreat. كل دي excellent service. لكن if we agree on the parable as we read in the very beginning, it's not the type of talent. It's not because سيادتي وسيادتك are the elite of the society. لكن God chose David because his will was aligned. Sorry, was aligned with God's will. He was walking in the same direction as God. That's someone who God is his master. Someone who is according to God's own heart. فسروها زي ما انتوا عايزين, لكن it's very important that when I serve, when you serve, we serve and our heart is according to God's heart. That's when God will look at us and say, blessed be, you are a good servant. Not because you gained 5 talents, not because you are a prestigious person in the society, not because your talents are more important than anyone else. It's because who you are. Are you a person according to God's heart or not? Guys, this is really, really, really very serious. And I'm going to tell you why it's serious. It's serious because when I'm involved very much in the church and doing services and doing retreats and doing fundraising and doing kitchen and raising money for the church and doing plays and doing choirs and doing get together and clean the church, when I'm very much involved in this, بحس إن أنا إيه؟ I'm good. And that's very dangerous because it's not what you're doing makes you good. Is who you are what makes you good. Please think differently than what you are used to think. Again, we think that أنا مهم في الكنيسة فعشان كده خدمتي مهمة. I'm important in the church, that's why my service is important. Or I am a speaker, or أنا بوعظ on Sunday فطبعا أنا my service is more important than anyone else because أنا بوعظ. أنتوا ما بتوعظوش. أنا بوعظ. I'm better than you. Actually, I'm going to be much more judged than anyone else. Believe me. Believe me. And we think that, oh, I'm being a speaker and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm going up the ladder. الأول كنت بوضب الكراسي, دلوقتي بقيت في الكوميتي بتاعت الريتريت, وبعد كده بقيت a leader in the workshop, وبعد كده بقيت the one responsible for the retreat, وبعد كده يعني the church cannot do without me. And it can be really a disaster. If my heart is not according to God's heart, it's very deceiving. It's very deceiving. لأنه هحس إن أنا كويس. ده أنا بخدم وبعمل 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 وبعمل. وسمير لما بيحتاج أي حاجة he calls me and always there for him. Which is great طبعا. Don't say that. لكن it's very important to understand that it's not what you do, it's not how much you do, It's not who you are in the society, like what the most important thing is, where is your heart? I have a lot of examples that goes around. The disciples were fishermen. There is someone in the Old Testament called Amos, one of the prophets or one of the minor prophets. He was Gani Gimmes. You know Gimmes? This is like a fruit in Egypt. He used to farm and collect these fruits from the field. That was his job. And he speaks about himself. You know, at that time there was a school called prophetic school. So anyone who wants to be a prophet needs to go to this school عشان يتعلم. Okay? And he wasn't. He wasn't from a prophetic school. And he speaks about himself in Amos chapter 7 that I am not even a prophet from a prophetic school. Like God has chosen him. Because he saw in him a heart of a prophet. What I'm trying to say is not to deter anyone or to prevent anyone from serving. Relax, خالص. We like to encourage everyone to serve. Like at the same time, when we encourage people to serve, people have to understand that my relationship with God, where is my heart, is more important than the service that I'm doing. One of the very clear examples of this, and probably I'm going to finish with that, is the story of Mary and Martha. We find the story of Mary and Martha in Luke chapter 10. In Luke chapter 10, we read what is the story of Mary and Martha. We all know this. What's going on? What's the story? Mary and Martha. That Jesus was invited to a hafla keda banquet. She was what? She was okay.
And Mary wasn't coming out because she was with Jesus.
Okay.
And then Martha got upset because Mary wasn't coming out, and Jesus told her that it was actually Mary who was
Absolutely. The Bible describes in situation بتاع Martha as being distracted بأمور كثيرة with many stuff. She was distracted. دي كان عليها 100,000 خدمة. 100,000 خدمة. She was cooking, when she was boiling, when she was preparing the table, when she was happy cooking stuff. She was whatever. She بتحضر الترابيزة and she was cooking and she was preparing the table. You know what I mean? She was distracted. I think the word distracted is very important here. She was distracted with good stuff. She was distracted with good stuff. She was distracted with good stuff. Not clubbing. She wasn't clubbing and she wasn't partying. She was distracted with good stuff, preparing a nice meal for Jesus. Like Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus. And Jesus praised Mary more than Martha. I think the message here is very clear. Who you are, where your heart is much more important than what you do. Please don't be deceived with I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm helping with this and I'm helping with that, with that. Please don't do that. Unless your heart is according to God's heart. I'm not talking about sinless here, guys. Okay? I know we all struggle. لكن ربنا ماشي كده وأنا ماشي جنبه. Our will is the same. I love you. I want to serve you. And that's probably the main difference between. I'm gonna ask you an interesting question since we have like 5 minutes. You know, there is a group who went to West Virginia last week, and we built a very nice house, very nice people, and there are poor people who went to Habitat for Humanity, and we did the concrete, we did the deck, يعني عملنا شغل حلو قوي. وبعدين الست يعني the host اللي كانت تستقبلنا she had like a meeting with us to evaluate the work. وبعدين we asked her, does people who come here are all Christians or not? The answer is what? Not. Habitat for Humanity, they accept people. The reason why we asked this question that we saw on the wall, like عارفين اللي هو star of the Jews, عارفين star of David. But I figured out that people who come here are not necessarily Christian. So she said, no, every faith, every religion, every aspect, every whatever, every anything can come and help. So I asked the group at night, what's the difference between us coming here and build a house and a group from no church or from other faith or from different faith or different belief will come here? What's the difference? ايه تفتكروا يعني what's the difference between us as a group from church going and serve there versus people from any faith going there? Maybe they're atheists, maybe they don't even believe, maybe they're just people who just like to do good stuff. You know, there are people in the world that like يسمون ايه؟ ها؟ ليهم اسم philanthropist? Humanitarian. صعبة دي عليا. Humanitarians. There are people who just like to do good things to humanity. There is a lot of people like that. So what makes our group different in the service than these humanitarian people who just come and spend the same week and spend the same amount of money and get tired as we did? In fact, what do you think is the difference? Well, there is no difference. If there is no difference, just tell me. What do you think? Nina?
I think so you didn't really interact with people, you were just building the situation, right?
We did what?
You didn't interact with people, you were just building.
We interacted a little bit with the people who are gonna move into this house.
Well,
So whether yani yes
this
or
is
no.
like a blanket statement, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think there is no difference.
Okay.
But the difference is in when you invite Christ into the service,
Okay.
he just does all these cool things. Otherwise, like the service
When you
itself,
invite Christ into the service, what happens?
he works.
He
Like,
works.
in the hearts of others, with your hearts, and with each other. There's like a lot of supernatural things that happen when it comes to what's going on with your hearts. But I think that the service itself, there's no difference.
Okay,
But
very
it's
good.
just what affects you and them.
Absolutely.
I think when we look at the life of Christ, we see that everything he was doing is pointing towards the Father. So I think that's like the biggest difference between like the good stuff that we do and the good stuff that other people do is that we're doing it to point towards the Father. You know,
Very good. Okay. Anton? Talent, yeah.
So it says with master applies to end of it says sharing massive happiness. So I think that we do serve, we're supposed to have the happiness instead of
Okay. Very good. We should have happiness. I want to hear you guys. Just say your opinion. There is no right and wrong here. I really want to hear you. I hope the question is clear. What's the difference between when a church group or a believer go to build a house with Habitat for Humanity and a group of non-believers, just humanitarian, who just like to do good? Maybe they're atheists, maybe they don't believe even in God, like they like to help this group family to have a nicer place to live in. What's the difference between this? Well, there is no difference. I want to hear you guys.
At first, I was gonna say there's no difference,
Okay.
but the more I think about saying that, I don't want to say that because if the religion aside, the difference could be what each individual person thinks. Rather than like, just because you're from a Christian church, you might be saying, "Oh, I can't wait to post this on Facebook so all my friends see that I'm doing something really good." And someone who
The
have
motive,
more
you
of
mean?
yeah, they might have more of their heart in it. So for me, I feel like Jesus aside, but someone can be Christian and just be there just to show off.
Right.
I really think the difference is the individual person, like with me and Mabel and everything else. It's the individual person because it really has to do with the heart that you have and why you're doing what you're doing.
I think, yeah, if I put everything together, the service is the same. And actually, believe it or not, we got pictures. They build houses over there in 2 weeks. It's very معرفش. لكن that's what happens. They sent pictures today, and we just put the concrete. They sent pictures today with the house given to the family, done. Yeah, after 1 week, just came back last Friday. Okay, so maybe even the group who came after us, they might have done even a better job than us. Maybe. I'm just saying maybe. Maybe there was a bigger group than us, so they were able to do a bigger job than us. The point that I want to make here, and again, it's not what is being done, is who I am. The same service can be done by two different people. Like God will look at me and the service. He looked at Abel and the service, but he did not look or he did not accept Cain and his service. Because Abel has different attitude than Cain. And that's the message that I want to convey today. Who you are, where your heart, am I living with God? Is my life, is my will aligned with God's will or not? That's what makes the difference in the service. We can all serve. The whole world can serve. And as I just said, people go with Habitat for Humanity from all religions and all faiths, and people even who don't believe in God. And they go there, and they serve, and they do a very good job. Maybe better than us. Like God looks at me first, and then at the service. That's the point that they are missing. The second point is, so that's the first point. In 2 minutes, I'm gonna just finish the second part, which is the motive. Okay. So the first requirement for a service is not what you're doing, is not how much you're doing, is not how much you're serving, is who you are. Where is your heart? Is your heart aligned with God's heart? Is your heart according to God's heart? As it's written about David. A man according to God's heart. إنسان حسب قلب الله. جميلة أوي أوي. In Arabic جميلة. ما أعرفش in English sounds what, لكن in Arabic it's very nice. The second important point in service is how much love you put in the service. Okay? And طبعا the best reference for that is 1 Corinthians 13. 1 Corinthians 13 speaks about what? That you have to know that. 1 Corinthians 13 speaks about love. The whole chapter is about love. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 Corinthians 13 speaks about love. Is mainly mentioned in the Bible where? 1 Corinthians 13. And he mentioned that love does not envy, love does not ask for what is for yourself, love does not quote the description of love in 1 Corinthians 13. And then he mentioned بالآخر يقول لك faith, hope, كل الحاجات دي are very important, and they are important. Like the most important thing out of all of this is love. عشان كده شيل love from Christianity will stumble. The whole Christianity is based on the fact that God is love. And because God is love, I can love Him, He can love me, He can love me first. I can love Him, and because I love Him, and we have this love relationship with God, I can love Chris. And because I love Chris, when Chris asks me something that I can do, I'll do. Why? Because I love Him. If you take out love from my service, I'm sorry, you are becoming a humanitarian. If you take love out of our Christian life, our Christian life will stumble. If you take out love from what you are doing, from the service, from your Sunday school teaching, from the taking care of a spiritual day, or whatever you're doing, take love out of it, it becomes something like anybody else in the world will do. Love is the most important word that can يعني كده ياخد the whole Bible or the whole Christianity today. Love describes who God is, love describes what God did for me, and love describes my relationship with Him, and love describes my relationship with you, and love describes my relationship with myself. Everything in Christianity is centered on love. She love from Christianity, she love from the service will be pride. You can do a wonderful job. هايل مفيش أحسن منه. لكن if you are not doing it with love, I'm sorry, I don't know how God is going to look at it. Because again, the whole thing in Christianity is love. He have loved me, I love Him back, and because I love Him back, I can love Mina, and because I love Mina, I can love myself. The whole story starts by God loving me and me loving Him back. And when I love God back, I can serve you. Serving you or serving each other without love is nothing. And maybe the best thing and the greatest thing that you can give to someone is to love. That can be the best service that you can do for someone. Just to love. Just to love. You don't need to be a preacher. You don't need to have a PhD in theology. You don't have to be knowledgeable even of what 1 Corinthians 13. You don't have even to know what 1 Corinthians 13 speaks about. You don't need to know anything. You just need to love. And how I'm going to get this love? How I'm going to get this love? When I look up and see how much He loved me, I can love Him back. And when I love Him back, I can love everyone, even people who are unlovable. And maybe that's the challenge that's in front of us. The best service, guys, that anyone can give to anyone is to accept, do not judge, and love. Regardless of the person is. Alimna, and we spoke about this 100 times, that I can love the person, like I'm not going to agree with what he's doing. Like I'm going to love him, and I'm going to pray for him, and I'm going to be his friend, and if he needs anything, I'm going to be there for him. You're doing wrong, according to the Bible. I don't approve that. You're doing wrong, like it. And that's exactly what God does. That's exactly what God, and that's exactly, يعني to be according to God's heart, the loving heart, that He can love regardless of who we are. I'm gonna stop here.
Don't you think saying that humanitarians are not able to love, or people believing in Christ are not able to love because they don't know Christ? Do you think that's?
No, I did not say that I'm not able to love. I said the main difference between us and humanitarians is that we do it because we love God. Is that my heart is according to God's heart.
But you do it because they love the good that they do, or that it will bring joy to someone else.
Yeah, God has nothing to do with that.
Correct. So
God has nothing to do with that. So is
is that not love? Because it has nothing to do with God.
Okay, very good.
So she makes a great point. So when it's removing the love, fine, but the difference is your intentions when you're doing it, what's in your heart. So when you're doing it, what's in your heart, what's in front of you, what's leading you is love of God. Specifically.
Yeah.
People will do a lot of
I think what I said in the beginning, if you put it together, what made David unique is that his heart was according to God's heart. And that's what God is looking for. A person whose heart is according to God's heart. And this person whose heart is according to God's heart is going to be able to love because, again, a love is not the goal. احنا اتكلمنا انه الservice itself is not what matters. Because there are people out there that can love. There are people out there that can love. Like the service of love itself is not what really matters. And I'm saying, and when you serve, you should have love. Like the love itself is not the service. If the love itself is the service, يبقى الانسر بتاعتنا في الاول كانت غلط لان احنا قلنا what you do is not what really counts. Is who I am what really counts. Is the heart that I have inside of me is what really counts. Am I walking with God or not? That's what really counts. And the love that I have and someone else who doesn't believe in God has, they can both do great jobs and they can both love. Like if we agree on the Bible that says that what really counts is my heart and where my heart is, يبقى God will see this probably different. لأنه أنا hopefully my heart is according to God's heart. يعني
I have some.
yeah,
Now, let's say someone who's Christian, someone who's not.
right.
They both have the same intentions to do well, like to do a good job. They
Right.
both love what they're doing, or
Right.
whoever they're doing it for. But the person who's Christian, we're doing the service, no matter what type of service it is, we're doing it to get closer to God. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
But do you think
It gets me closer to God, and it's a reflection of God's love into my heart. So because I love God, because God loves me, and I love Him, I love me.
Okay, but I understand. But then we have a motive of doing that service is to get closer to God. But the person who does not know God, they do it.
The
just
goal is
for
the
God.
service. The goal is is to help people.
Correct. So they don't get anything out of it. Do you think is
Yeah,
that better
yeah. Is it better?
or not better?
And I just think about how much you said. I think it's like I don't want to reduce the idea of love in Christianity. I think I've heard it more accurately as like this is a process, right? The love that you might have for your country or animals or something, it's kind of motivated through X and period. But I think the love that Uncle Spirit's trying to get at is a process love. Like there's the love of God, there's self-understanding, reflection in every action. All of that stuff is way more holistic in my mind, at least.
The love that I have is a result of me loving God, of the relationship between, and definitely it's a process. I'm not gonna start tomorrow. Wow, مرة واحدة كده I'm loving God and I'm doing miracles and I'm going to help everyone. Definitely it's a process. Like the point that I wanna make, إنه حاضر يا نردين. When I realized that God loved me and that I love God, okay, the goal or the motive for me to love you is because I love God. That's completely different than someone who's just his goal is to love you because you're a nice person. If you are not a nice person, probably he's not gonna love you. Like I'm gonna love you whether you are a nice person or not. That's a big difference. And the other thing is that, again, if we agree on the whole concept that we are talking about today, my heart is more important than what I'm doing. So what really counts is not that I'm building a house. What really counts is, where is my heart? How God looks at this, at the service is, where is my heart? I can be a Christian and not loving God and doing good things, like in my heart is not aligned with God's heart. God cannot say that this person's heart is according to my heart. Najib, what happened? Eh? Nancy? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you said it.
I said it? the point is very simple. What you do is not what really matters. Who you are and where is your heart is what really matters. That's one point. The second point is the motive for what I'm doing is because I love. It's not because I feel better when I build houses. It's not because I feel better when I help Joe. It's not because I feel better that I have someone who needs my help. The motive is because I love you. And why I love you? Because God has poured His love into you. And I'm going to finish with that, and I'm very serious about this. If you can't do anything and you feel that you can't do anything, I'm sure you can give love. You can give love, you can give acceptance, you can give ahqam, you can give forgiveness, you can give support. This is not at all less than speaking or giving a lecture or being a priest or anything that we think these are great. That's the whole point that I want to mention. And accepting people, being there for people, loving people, praying for people. This is not less than giving a lecture or being even a priest or a bishop or a priest. Two things. Where is your heart? Are you doing it with love or not? Any comments? Any comments? You're good, the public? Amen.
Isn't the reward different? If you're a bishop, for example, isn't your reward much larger and much?
Is the service more important? Maybe has a bigger responsibility. Like if God looks at me and my abilities, exactly like the one who was given 5 and the one who was given 2. The one who was given 5 was given more. Okay? But he's required more. لو خدناها percentage, ده جاب 100% وده جاب 100%. So it's not even how many talents you got, it's who you are. Because both were faithful. So someone who has 5 talents is not more important than the one who has only 2 talents. Because both were faithful, both were gave back as much as they were able to. طبعا if God gave me more talents, that's why when I'm يعني اشكروا ربنا that you're not speakers, guys, because really it's we got judgment on ourselves much more than anyone else. The more God gives you, the more it's going to be required from you. لا, the reward are the same. The reward there was both were come تعالى ادخل إلى فرح سيد. The reward was the same. Yeah, that's a different story. يعني بس يعني going to have it is the same. موضوع الstars ده بقى is different.